Brothers, if there are any gaps, just fill them up so the brothers can find a place. Fill up the gaps. الحمد لله إن الحمد لله نستعين ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد عباد الله اعلموا رحمكم الله إياكم أن الله بمن فضله وكرمه سبحانه وتعالى جعل عباده مواسم الخير يتأجرون فيها معه سبحانه وتعالى كما قال تعالى ومن عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام يا معشر المسلمين هذا يوم جعل الله لكم عيدا فاغتسلوا وعليكم بالسواك أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام الحمد لله. Dear respected elders, brothers in Islam, Allah Ta'ala has given certain virtues to certain times and dates in our calendar. And the one I'd like to speak to about today is the day of Jumu'ah or the Friday. This is the most virtuous day in the Islamic calendar and should be a special day for us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said in one hadith that, O Muslims, Ya Ma'ashar al-Muslimin, this day of Jumu'ah, Allah Ta'ala has made it Eidah, a day of Eid or a day of celebration. So he advised two things. فَاغْتَسِلُوا. One is take a bath or a shower on the day of Jumu'ah, وَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالسِّوَاكِ, and also use the miswak or freshen your mouth or your breath on the day of Jumu'ah. Allah Ta'ala has also allocated one surah in the Quran specifying about the importance and the significance of the day of Jumu'ah. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع. Allah Ta'ala speaks about the day of Jumu'ah as well. Now, let's look back about the history of the deen of Allah Ta'ala. And we know that the previous nations, the nations of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, and for the Bani Israel, for the Jews, they were given the option to choose their holy day or the day which they would make as a special day of ibadah and worship to Allah Ta'ala. They chose the Sabbath. And in the nation of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, they were given the option to choose their holy day, and they chose the day of the Ahad or the Sunday. But in our Sharia, our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had waited for wahi from Allah Ta'ala, and Allah Ta'ala chose for us the special day of Jumu'ah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said one hadith, Sayyidul Ayyam Yawm al-Jumu'ah. Firstly, the best of all days is the day of Jumu'ah. وَأَعْظَمُهَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. It is the most honored and mighty day in the eyes of Allah Ta'ala. That is the day of Jumu'ah. وَأَعْظَمُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنْ يَوْمِ الْفِطْرِ وَالْأُضْحَى. The day of Jumu'ah is actually more auspicious and has more importance than the 2 days of Eid, the Eid al-Fitr and the Eid al-Adha. وَفِيهِ خَمْسِ خِلَالٍ. 5 special events took place on the Yawm al-Jumu'ah or the Friday. Firstly, خلق الله عز وجل فيه آدم عليه الصلاة والسلام. When the beginning of mankind was initiated by Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala chose the Jumu'ah or the Friday where He created the first of mankind, Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. وفيه ساعة لا يسأل العبد فيها شيئا إلا آتاه الله تعالى إياه. Also, there is one sa'a. Now, sa'a has different interpretations. Sometimes it means an hour, or can mean a short period of time. But there's one time in the day of Jumu'ah that is allocated, that whatever the servants of Allah Ta'ala ask from Allah Ta'ala, and it coincides with that time, Allah Ta'ala will give them whatever they ask for. وَفِيهِ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ. And when the day of judgment, when Allah Ta'ala will order Israfil alayhi salatu wasalam to blow into the trumpet to announce the beginning of the Qiyamah, or the day of judgment, it will happen on a Friday. وَمَا مِن مَلِكٍ مُقَرَّبٍ وَلَا سَمَاءٍ وَلَا أَرْضٍ وَلَا رِيَاحٍ وَلَا جِبَالٍ وَلَا بَحْرٍ إِلَّا هُنَّ يُشْفِقْنَ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam states that every angel, the sky, the earth, the winds, the mountains, the oceans, they all have respect and honor for the Yawm al-Jum'ah, or for the Friday. So the Jumu'ah, or the Friday, should not be treated like any other day. And in the Friday itself, whatever good actions we do, the reward is multiplied. That's why if we have some charity to give, we should actually give it on a Friday. We get more reward by giving charity on a Friday than other days. Doesn't mean we can't give it on other days, we can. But if we can coincide our charity with the Friday, then it becomes more rewardable for us. Now we have to understand when the Jumu'ah also begins. So in our calendar, the day changes at sunset. So the Friday would have entered yesterday at sunset, and it finishes at sunset. So as soon as on the Thursday, as soon as the sun sets, the Jumu'ah has actually begun. وَاللَّيْلُ سَابِقُ النَّهَارِ. The night comes before the day. This is the system which Allah Ta'ala has allocated. So the Sunnahs of Friday, and there are many Sunnahs that we can do on a Friday, and that's why a lot of us have to go to work. It's not possible for us sometimes to have a ghusl or have a shower for the Friday from work itself. But we can actually, in either Friday morning or even Thursday evening after the sunset, if we intend that shower or bath to be for the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and for the Friday, we'll get rewarded for that. Also, it's special. We should also make this an important day for the family as well. Normally, we allocate the best meal of the week. The wife will make a special meal, normally on a Saturday or a Sunday. It's a day off. But really, if we choose the Friday, and this is especially important for the children, so that they have the importance of the Jumu'ah. It is not a holiday here in Australia, so we have to kind of do our own thing to make it special. That's why if we give our children allowance, let them look forward and give it to them on a Friday. So they look forward to Fridays. They see the importance of Fridays. Of course, also there is a very auspicious action that we can do, and especially in our times. It was the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he used to read Surah Al-Kahf on a Friday. And he mentioned one hadith, من قرأ سورة الكهف في يوم الجمعة سطع له نور من تحت قدمه إلى عنان السماء يضيء له يوم القيامة وغفر له ما بين الجمعتين. Surah Al-Kahf is a very lengthy surah, but there's a lot of hadith telling us about the benefits of reading Surah Al-Kahf. And in this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, whoever reads the Surah Al-Kahf on a Friday, Allah Ta'ala will enlighten him with a light that starts from under his feet and reaches up into the sky. And it will be a light for him on the day of judgment. And وَغُفِرَ لَهُ مَا بَيْنَ الْجُمَعَتَيْنِ, whatever sins he has done from the previous Friday to this Friday, Allah Ta'ala will forgive all his sins by reading Surah Al-Kahf on the Friday. In our times as well, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that a person that has a habit of reading Surah Al-Kahf on the Friday, Allah Ta'ala will protect him from the fitna and the corruption of the Dajjal. There are different riwayat, different narrations. So one says that if we have a habit of reading, other ones, it said we memorize the first 10 and the last 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf, is also protection for us. And we see that this is now all very evident now. All the signs of the judgment is there. So we should be teaching our children, because the coming of the Dajjal will be the biggest test on humanity from the creation of Adam up until the day of judgment. There will be no bigger test and calamity that will befall the believers of that time, the coming of the Dajjal. So have a habit of reading the Surah Al-Kahf, inshaAllah ta'ala. And of course, we have the Salat al-Jum'ah, which is the peak and pinnacle of the Friday itself. Allah Ta'ala, then He revealed the Surah Al-Jum'ah, where Jum'ah became compulsory. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. Now, the Jews and the Christians, when they allocated holy days, they also put in certain conditions that you cannot work. And that's why with the Jews, they're not allowed to do any type of work on the Sabbath, which is their holy day. So Allah Ta'ala did not stop us from working on the Fridays. But what He does specify, إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ, once the call of prayer is given on the Friday, فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, at that time, no more buying or selling, no more work is permissible. It's now time to get ready for the Jum'ah. فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, hasten towards the dhikr of Allah Ta'ala. وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ, leave all type of trade and business. ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ, and that is better for you if you only knew. From that until the end of the Jum'ah, until the end of فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Again, once the Jum'ah is completed, فَانْتَشِرُوا, you can now go back to your businesses if you like, and you can start working again. So just that time of Jum'ah where we're not permissible for us to actually do any type of work, but that time is to actually get ready and to pray the Salat al-Jum'ah. Now, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the actually khutbah of the Jum'ah used to take place after the Salah, just like the Eid. So the Eid, you see that the Salah takes place first, and then the khutbah of the Eidain takes place after the Salah. This was the same with Salat al-Jum'ah. Initially, the Salah used to take place first, and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to get up on the minbar and then deliver the khutbah after the completion of the Salah. And on one occasion, the Sahaba anhu were in the Masjid, and no caravan bringing supplies into Medina have come for a very long time. So they were waiting for a certain caravan to arrive. And this caravan, and when the caravans arrived, people used to start beating drums, and they used to kind of, there was noise that used to make, just like announcing that the caravan's coming. So what happened there, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed the Salat al-Jum'ah and then stood up on the minbar, and at that time the caravan arrived. When the Sahaba heard the caravan, a lot of them, not knowing, not purposely, but they went up and they left the Masjid, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was standing on the minbar. Only a very few number of Sahaba stayed in the Masjid. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then reminded them that this is not the proper etiquettes for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So later on, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then brought the khutbah to be done before the salah, and then the Salat al-Jumu'ah was after the Salah. But we should try to make it as early as possible to the Salat al-Jumu'ah, because the earlier we come, the more reward we get. There's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first he says, "Man ikhtasala yawm al-Jumu'ah, ghusl al-janaba, thumma raha, faka'annama qarraba budna." Whoever takes a shower or a bath for the Jumu'ah, just like one would take for janaba when he's impure, and then he's amongst the first people to come into the masjid for the Salat al-Jumu'ah, it's as he sacrificed a camel or a cow for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. Or sorry, a camel. وَمَنْ رَاحَ فِي السَّاعَةِ الثَّانِيَةِ كَأَنَّمَا قَرَّبَ بَقَرَةً. The ones that come after that, the second group of people, they will get the reward of sacrificing a cow for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. وَمَنْ رَاحَ فِي السَّاعَةِ الثَّالِثَةِ فَكَأَنَّمَا قَرَّبَ كَبْشًا أَقْرَأ. And the third group of people that come into the masjid for the Salat al-Jumu'ah, they'll get the reward of sacrificing a horned sheep. وَمَنْ رَاحَ فِي السَّاعَةِ الرَّابِعَةِ فَكَأَنَّمَا قَرَّبَ دَجَاجَةً. Now we're getting to the later groups. The fourth group of people that come, the later group, they'll get the reward of sacrificing a chicken. وَمَنْ رَاحَ فِي السَّاعَةِ الْخَامِسَةِ فَكَأَنَّمَا قَرَّبَ بَيْضًا. And if you're amongst the last, then you get the reward of sacrifice or giving in sacrifice an egg. So the earlier we come, the more reward we get. After the Jumu'ah starts, then there's no more extra reward that's given. But some of the etiquettes of the Jumu'ah, and this is something very important, it is a special time for us. So there are ways of also losing our rewards. One is stepping over people to try to get to the front lines. Rasulullah says, whoever now steps over another person to get into the front lines, he loses the reward of Jumu'ah. And in the time of Rasulullah, they didn't have carpet. They used to put soft pebbles in the Masjid. And they used to pray on the soft pebbles, because it was sand under that. People now playing with the pebbles, the Prophet said, also lose their reward of Jumu'ah. Today we don't have pebbles, we've got mobile phones to play with instead. So again, with the phones, we should put those away. We can leave them in the car, lock them up in the car, or put them on silent, or switch them off and put them away. Really, etiquettes of the masjid are very, very important, especially on a Friday. And people forget to switch off their phones. Now, really, we do forget sometimes, but how important. I mean, if we're going to a job interview, I'll give this example. We're going to a job interview. We'll check 3 times that our phone's on silent, because we don't want to be in a job interview and our phone goes off. Straight away, the employer would see that this person is not a person of etiquettes. If you're going to meet a very important person, a minister or a president, we'll make sure our phones are switched off. When we come into the houses of Allah Ta'ala and we're going to converse with Allah, then again, we should ensure that our phones are switched off as well. Allah give us tawfiq. وَقُولُوا قَوْلِي هَذَا وَاسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ وَأَتُوبُ إِلَيْهِ. الحمد لله إن الحمد لله نستعين ونستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا ثم صلى على خاتم النبيين وإمام المرسلين فقد أمركم الله بذلك في كتابه فقال عز من قائل إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وقال صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى عليه واحدة صلى الله بها عليه 10 اللهم صل وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت وباركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد ورضي اللهم عن الأربعة الخلفاء أئمة الحنفاء أبي بكر الصديق وعمر الفاروق وذو النورين عثمان وأبي الستين علي وعن آل بيتك النبيين الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أزواج أمهات المؤمنين وعن الصحابة أجمعين والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وعنا معهم بمنك وكرمك وعفوك وإحسانك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم أصلح حال المسلمين، اللهم اجمع كلمتهم على الحق ورد من دينك ردا جميلا، اللهم ارفع علم الدين وانصر المجاهدين، اللهم انصر المجاهدين الذين يجاهدون في سبيلك ولإعلاء كلمتك، اللهم ثبت أقدامهم واربط على قلوبهم وقوة شوكتهم وأنزل السكينة عليهم وانصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم إنك على كل شيء قدير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله العلي الجليل يذكركم واشكروا على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقيموا الصلاة.